Hey, and there we go. Hey, everybody, welcome back. Hope you guys are all having a pretty good day. Loki's over here already trying to have some fun. Yep, there we go. A lot to talk about here today. It looks like Bitcoin just gave everybody a massive whiplash from going down really hard to going back up really hard. Then all of a sudden, over the past, let's just call it 14, 15 hours, we've seen another big drag down as far as Bitcoin's prices. We should talk about these moving averages first and kind of go on to some other stuff. But before all that, I want you guys to make sure that you guys understand, I think, what kind of set all of this off here. It definitely has been something more of a, what do you want to call it, a more global effect happening. Again, Loki says hello. He really wants to play. Oh, you took my microphone thing out. I need to have that. Hey, do this for you guys very fast. There we go. Yeah, but it looks like what really set all this stuff off, everybody, and welcome to the channel, everybody. I've been posting a lot more shorts lately, just before I go into some of this data stuff. And I always forget that I'm only allowed to have 3 notifications in a 24-hour period. So I've been messing up my streams for the past 2 days by not having enough notifications going out. So I'll try to not post as much, but I wish I could just post as much as I wanted to, right? And hey, Jane, happy to see you back. All right, but as far as everything else is concerned, everybody, one of the things that got this thing set off was higher inflation in Europe, apparently. Again, you guys know I stay up late a lot of times now, and it looks like England had an inflation rate of over 10%. So some of those European problems are actually affecting Bitcoin. I think a lot of times, and maybe rightly so, us here in America, we think that the American market is the only thing that really matters to Bitcoin, when in reality, it does get affected by other things out there. In today's world, it looks like it was, or for today, it looks like it was also being meddled with the European inflation and, the Great Britain's inflation. I guess they're not really part of the European Union anymore. But what I wanted to show you guys very fast is EU inflation. You could watch the pound and stuff like that as well. But the euro annual inflation rate was 6.9% in March, down from 8.5% in February. Earlier, the rate was 7.4%, okay? Now, that's good because it's coming down, but inflation is still at 6.9%. That is not really where you want to be for them, okay? Now, as far as the UK inflation rate, here we go. But just right here, cannot tell. Consumer price index, inflation, March. Yeah, this is probably it. Oh, here, let me just go here to CBC. I don't know the UK websites. But yeah, UK inflation rate surprises again, with March figure holding above 10%. Above 10% inflation, okay? So maybe the fact that, inflation, I think, is coming down, I guess. Let me move something down here real fast, guys. There we go. Before we start getting excited about America's inflation coming down, it seems like Europe is also having a bunch of issues here. And from what I've seen, it looks like their energy is not coming down as much as ours. Because remember, we had this oil spat. We were dumping oil into the markets to kind of reduce the price as the Saudis and such were trying to cut down on supply to manipulate the price. So there's been a huge price manipulation war over the past few quarters, as all of you guys know. But inflation really seemed to kick this stuff off in the early morning hours. I'm talking about 3 o'clock my time, 2 o'clock my time, when most of you guys are asleep. Even the people on the East Coast are asleep, okay? And hey, Bideford, burgers, and happy to see you right there, and Lackey, appreciate it as well. So this kind of tipped everything off. Now, as we go over here to the weekly charts, you guys can see we did have that golden cross there. We've had 1 week of pumping up there. It doesn't mean this rally is over, but it looks like we're going to try to come back and consolidate just a little bit more here, everybody. This is definitely, I wouldn't say a completely worrying moment, but this is where you're going to start seeing, like I said before, people are going to start getting a little bit more worried, and you're probably going to see people start to unload some of their positions. Now, I think it was Monica. Let's see. Hey, Monica. Since we closed below the trend line, is a good time to double the shortening on Bitcoin? Yeah, I would say now is as good as any time to start shorting Bitcoin if you want to take it back down. You want to give yourself a respectable stop loss and be careful as far as how high that leverage goes. But at this point, yeah, I'd be taking some shorts down here, and I'll explain a little bit more here in a second. But even though we've had some of these trend lines kind of popping up. We had talked about the MACD actually a few days ago, actually having that crossover on the daily chart here, right? Now this is the one that's suited for me for swing trading. But you can see today, after we just closed about 2 minutes ago, we finally did have that cross in the MACD. That's not really a good sign here. And on top of all that, let's we can keep the oscillator. Now let's put the oscillator down for just a few minutes. You guys can see we finally broke down below the 20-day moving average. Now, last time we did this, it wasn't the worst thing ever, right? We had a little bit of a bouncing, but then we did come down, spiked back up, banking crisis, then we ricocheted off the 20-day moving average here. Now, guys, we've had another clean breakdown from here. Again, around $31,000. We're a little bit more overbought than we were back when Bitcoin was just at $23,000, $24,000, which makes it a little bit more difficult. One of the reasons why I was so skittish about trying to go bearish, what day was this back over here? Back on Monday was because there's been a lot of tomfoolery. I don't know what you guys want to call it, but basically when you think everything is pointing towards one direction, but all of a sudden there's a huge move in the opposite direction before that move occurs. I think Monica was asking a question about the change of character on the 4-hour chart, or maybe it even was the daily chart, but we had that change of character there, and I was saying I was a little bit more worried. And what happened afterwards, remember? I was expecting us, maybe if I can actually just pull this up here and just go hide this one, and put the 20 up here as far as the daily. So what you're looking at is a 15-minute chart with the 20-day moving average on top of it, okay? But what happened? We had this really, where was it? Was this it right here? No, this is back in here. No, it's right here, okay. Yeah, we had this really weird bounce come out of nowhere where everything was looking bearish, like we were going to break down. We didn't even tap on it here, then big boom out of nowhere, moving back up. And that original change of character, I think, happened over here sometime Sunday afternoon, and we were all kind of waiting for it. And then boom, all of a sudden, huge ricochet, and then we had another breakdown right there. That was a little bit of what I was afraid of happening here, because I've been doing a little bit more of aggressive plays, I would say, as far as leverage is concerned. But I don't think this would have hit your stop loss. I think that's one of the reasons we didn't keep on moving back up. The stop loss for a lot of people that took shorts over here was around this $30,500 level. Right now, for my personal shorts, I wonder if I did for copy traders as well, finally had time to open up one of those. That's my stop loss right now. I'm kind of hovering around $30,500 or so. If we break above that, I'll let the short just kind of close itself out. But right now, it looks like we definitely want to continue coming back down here. As I remove all those other lines here, let's open this back up, let's back this up to the chart. You guys are looking at the 4-hour charts. Now, again, we're starting to consolidate a little bit more. Well, currently, we're just bouncing off of the 200 moving average on the 4-hour chart. We've done this before, nothing too crazy. I wouldn't expect us to have such a massive drop down anytime soon. You guys can see we bounced around it here before, bounced around it over here a little bit, although it wasn't really that strong of a level of support over the past few weeks, I would say. But once we start having our death crosses, and such, that's when you start to see Bitcoin starting to get a little bit more worried. And at this point, guys, you know, as we take a quick peek over here, as far as the NASDAQ, this is a 4-hour chart, we're still not in chaos mode, right? We're still not in pure chaos mode. We're still having issues breaking out, but we're still there, right? We're still in that zone. The Dow Jones, nothing too scary going on over here, mostly going sideways. Maybe a little bit of lower highs here, but nothing I would say I'm really concerned about. I'm wondering if if we're not going to see any bad moves, maybe until on the stock market, maybe until Friday, if we're lucky here. Right now, it seems like everything's kind of just waiting to. There you go. Everything is just kind of this waiting mode right here. You're seeing these small uptrends here for the SPY. Nothing to be too concerned about. Still having that golden cross that had a small effect here after the break. And I guess the break was really that opportune moment to buy. But we're all having issues actually holding breakouts or breaking out. The Dow's kind of a different story, but for the NASDAQ and SPY, they're not breaking out right now. They're just kind of staying. Now, maybe if we had some good earnings news, that might pump up the market. But I don't think Tesla had good earnings today, so that might actually affect the way we see the NASDAQ actually go into open tomorrow. I think right now, if I were to go over here to CNBC, after we get out of all this inflation talk, Yeah, we're Dow futures are down a little bit here, but nothing too catastrophic. We check out what happened throughout the day. The Dow started lower, ended lower. NASDAQ and SPY started lower, ended up higher from where it opened up. So those were still, relatively decent days. Everything as far as the heat map, Amazon's up a little bit, Tesla was down. Medical devices were up a little bit more here, but not too much carnage here, guys. We're still not terrible as far as the stock market. I think when the stock market really starts to turn over, that's when you see crypto really start to go to crazier levels, I would say. But at this point, if we're talking about what traditionally happens around this time, we should see Bitcoin continue to fall over the next few days now that we've actually had this pretty crazy ricochet. Going back over here to some other stuff, you can see a little bit more of a dramatic drop down from Ethereum. That was pretty darn brutal. Only got stopped by that 20-day moving average here. We've been trying to glide above this thing, since we broke out after the banking crisis. Glided up here for a while. Now finally having that breakdown there, and it's just not boding well for now. Hopefully we can have some type of short-term rebound, but I think overall next week or so, we're probably going to be giving up some gains. How's the dollar index looking? Dollar index is still going sideways, guys. We haven't broken out above that 20-day moving average. That 20-day moving average usually does lead to a little bit more volatility here. So if you guys start seeing that, that's more of a bearish sign for the overall market, right? Now, as far as how coins have been doing here, let's just go back over here to good old top 100. Last 60 days, most coins are still going to be green. A few of them are going to be red, like Matic and such. That's just because of some of the crazy rallies we saw in January. But for the last 24 hours, everybody, Bitcoin's down about 5%, Ethereum down about 8%, and you're seeing BNB about 5%, XRP down 7%, 5%, Dogecoin's down 6%, Polygon's down 7.5%. You're starting to see some of those coins that had larger rallies really start to come back down a little bit more. And you guys can see the majority of them are all year to date still doing very well. But you are definitely seeing some type of pullback right now. Heck, even AVAX is down 10.5% right now. Litecoin is down 11% in the last 24 hours. You're definitely starting to see some of that. Interestingly enough, you're starting to see a little bit of probably Bitcoin dominance growing here. Let me see if I can pull this up for us. Yeah, this morning you saw it break out right there, and not because Bitcoin was going up and altcoins were going down. It's just Bitcoin wasn't going down as much as the altcoins here. So that was interesting to see. Let me go over here to the weekly chart. Yeah. I wonder if we might have a breakdown like that. We see Bitcoin coming down 2%, 2%, 2%, 2%. Altcoins 4, 5%, 4, 5%. And maybe that's a breakout that we could have. But, we don't really do the technicals on this all too much. There is a little bit of an uptrend over here. Hopefully we can kind of go stagnant for a while. Maybe that's as best as we can kind of hope for, because we did run up against some really large levels of resistance here. And it seems like bears are ready to attack, and some of this inflation news coming out of Europe, which was definitely not good. It just wasn't good numbers, I would say. Good to see it coming down, but not the numbers you want to see, right? We might see a breakdown from here. But short term, as far as Bitcoin's concerned, everybody, probably best just go over here to the daily chart. There's a few different ways to look at it. Everybody was kind of trying to find some type of flag here over the past few weeks. You can see how we tried to glide above it until we got forced back down. We're just about to break down below this right now, and that's really not a good sign. We start breaking down below that, 20-day moving averages. I think what's going to work best for you guys is to actually have two different sets of Fibonacci retracements, just so you guys can have some of these pivot points right now. The first one is going to be from the lows we experienced back in November, a long time ago. Let me put the magnet on here. All right. That's going to give you a support level somewhere around here of 26,324. Now, from here, that's probably going to be about 8% drop, 2,400 points or about. That's probably where I would probably have some price targets around. The way I'd play it, though, is probably have that price target kind of somewhere around the 50-day moving average as well, not just the Fibonacci level. And then those two other things. Okay, this is with the fibs on, right? If you want to take this off and you want to have it squished down a little bit more, I think this is a better short-term one for some of you guys looking for day trading opportunities. That's going to be around 27,323, okay? Last one here is not going to be going all the way back from the bottom. It's going to be going from these banking lows where we managed to bounce off of those 200 daily moving averages. On that one, I'm probably just going to go, I hear Loki pitter-pattering, so I want to make sure he's not going to jump up on me right now. we have this first little bit of a support right along here of 28,320. That's about 500 points less than where we are now. That might be as good as any if you guys want to do a small bounce. We haven't hit it yet, but if you guys are expecting some type of first rebound, it might be somewhere around there, okay? Now, if I were to take this off again, let me just go over here, turn that on, move it down a little bit more, you might see something more around the realms of 27,765. I just keep on pulling it out to the daily chart and just make sure you guys have an idea of what's going on, because even though we are breaking down right now, if I were to get rid of all this other stuff, these moving averages, we are going to see a crossover at this point. I can see that pretty clearly. But whenever that crossover happens, it's not really happening. Oh, I got the magnet still on. It's not really happening like anytime soon. It's happening sometime in May, right? And I think in May, I was just talking to Tom about this. May is Bitcoin Miami, right? So maybe during Bitcoin Miami, we might see a little bit more of a crash or something like that. But we might have an opportunity just to go more stagnant for a while, hopefully, and not just come down full force like we have in the past. You guys all know how volatile Bitcoin can be. Sometimes we have some really bad days. Sometimes we have some really, really good days. The last few days, I would say when we got stuff bad, it kind of matches to what we saw today, right? Back over here, we were down about 5. On 2 days, about 6.5%. Over here, we were down about 5-6%. Over here, down about 7%. And that was during a banking crisis, right? So far for today, from open to close, we were pretty much just around 5.5%. It's within normal expectations. The only thing now is we're starting to also break down as far as having MACD crossovers, RSIs showing the oversold, also having the crossovers. I bet the stochastic is probably already giving us some bearish signals as well. And then you also see other stuff out there like momentum oscillators, like we just talked about, really starting to show a little bit of oversoldness and some of those red signs here as far as getting overturned. We did talk about some divergences going on last week. Those divergences are still playing out, but we have to see how much more downward pressure is really going to be coming up here to Bitcoin, because I know, as you go over here to Whale Watch, not Whale Watchers, do I still follow Whale Watch? Oh, I don't. For you? I don't know if I follow him anymore. I remember I used to get annoyed by how many things I would get. But you guys know there's been a lot of shorting going on. That's all I really wanted to explain to you guys. A lot of shorting going on. Yeah, who knows? There's Whale Watcher Guru, but that's not the same thing. So right now, guys, if you are trying to make any trades, if you guys don't have a heavy leverage in mind, this is probably a good opportunity to start doing some longer-term Bitcoin shorts just to kind of get in there. You can already see Bitcoin right now is almost at 0.25%. Nothing too crazy. We're still on this little bit of a downtrend here. Hopefully, since we have a new day, we'll make a wick before ultimately falling down even more throughout the night. But this big first movement really happened in the middle of the night as we were kind of learning more about economic data coming out of Europe. So you guys can see, even over the past few minutes before we start going back over here, this bigger dip happened. Whales are starting to push down a little bit more than you might expect, and they're trying to break through some of those support levels. And if they continue to break through them, which you've seen here step by step, they have been breaking through them. Just understand you're probably going to see some fear spread quite a bit. I can only imagine how many new people hopped into the market at these high levels and they bought high and probably are going to end up selling low. Watch out for those type of people, because they're going to be the ones that want to panic here as Bitcoin comes back down. I don't know what the greed index is. We can just see what this is. Right now it's kind of neutral, looks like right there. Find suitable software. Neutral, greed, yeah. So we've just finally moved back into neutral after kind of having some greedy times. But I mean, how could you not be greedy again, as we were kind of seeing all this great momentum move up here over the past few weeks? It's hard not to be greedy in those situations. But for now, baby steps, everybody. We'll see how all this transpires. But if you guys have any questions, let me know. I've been pretty much just kind of trying to figure out what's going on with the stock market, because the stock market's not been doing anything particularly crazy. Overall, the entire market is pretty much down. Watch out for those altcoins. Those altcoins seem to be slipping hard. And part of that, frankly, is, guys, altcoins did have some crazy rallies. I mean, really crazy rallies. You guys know I was trading the ID token and some other tokens out there, even Arbitrum, right? So you see this, maybe it's best to maybe go to an hourly chart. You know, I sold it very early, unfortunately for me, But since those all-time highs over here, it has come back down around 25% already. That's because it did have a run, and a lot of these coins had really good runs. This run was up 142%, and that was within a few days. That's why you're seeing some really crazy pullbacks, and you're seeing all these moving averages start to cross back over, and you're going to see people obviously taking some shorting opportunities against all this. Arbitrum, which we talked about a while ago, I sold a lot of mine off over the past few weeks. You're starting to see it come back down. I told you guys I was going to continue to buy back more into this. Now that we've kind of had that first big drop earlier today, I am going to start dollar cost averaging back into this, understanding and probably believing that we'll probably come back down to the 130s eventually, hopefully. Well, yeah, I think we will, because I think Bitcoin's coming down eventually, long term. But I am going to be taking this opportunity to finally get back into some of these positions where I told you guys I had been scaling out of some of these good dollar cost averaging opportunities when, FTX crashing, Celsius crashing. It finally got to a good point where some of those altcoins were actually doing okay. Because we always forget about the Celsius crashes and how long some of us have been dollar cost averaging. Some of us have been dollar cost averaging for the next bull market. That's me as well. Some of us have been dollar cost averaging, like me, a little bit here. So I guess smaller amounts for these ones where you're looking for some shorter term swing trades, right? But you never know what's going to happen, because a lot of times those smaller term swing trades end up just going into a bag as you wait for the market to kind of turn back around. I think a good example of this might be something like normally I would say something like a Matic, right? But Matic was actually really crazy this time. Maybe something more along the lines of a Solana, right? Let's go back over here to a daily chart. This is back over here to the Celsius. No, this is FTX. Yeah, Celsius crash was over here, right? A lot of people dollar cost averaging all throughout this, and we almost got back up there. But if you guys are doing from the FTX crash, you're doing fine. Where's the Matic one at? Let me just type it in here. Probably I'm looking for Polygon, that's why. There you go. Celsius crash over here. This is more what I was thinking of. Celsius crash over here. Back over here, where we at? You got this weird, nasty move because of what we saw with FTX. And you can see how much, how bullish everything has gotten. You've seen a lot of coins actually act like this. I took the opportunity to scale to this a little bit. But most people that are in Matic, we all kind of understand this is something you want to hold for a long period of time, like the Ethereum and stuff. But again, you're starting to see some of those same moves as far as those crossovers incoming here. We're actually looking to break down below the 200 daily moving average for the first time in a while over the next week or so if we continue to make this lower high situation a possibility. And on the weekly chart here, I guess weekly chart's going to be a little bit more annoying. Just keep a close eye out to see what happens as we break down below the 20-week moving average. We haven't been below it since, January? That was the big kind of kickoff to all this big rally. If we start breaking down from here, which we haven't, you could expect to see Matic coming back down to 75, 85 cents, okay? Now, hopefully there's some good economic news that continues to boost up the market sometime over the next few weeks. We do know that we have rate hikes coming out pretty soon. I think those are coming out May 3rd. May 2nd to 3rd, so the 3rd is going to be the second day, yeah. So May 3rd coming up, that'll be an interesting time as well. But for now, just get ready for a little bit more of a bumpy ride. If you guys are trying to find dipping opportunities for later on, this is still going to be one of you guys' times. But again, just have those stop losses in place and you guys should be fine. I don't want to make this seem like everything is going crazy, but usually this is where we're getting up to those high levels. You guys can see we're kind of bouncing up into this resistance zone up here from the lows of 2021 and I guess some of the lows we saw in 2022 before we saw this Celsius type event crash. I think who was hit hard by that? BitBoy was hit hard by that, I think. And since then we're just kind of running up against it and we're facing some resistance. Is it the end of Bitcoin, this low rally? No, it's not. But again, you're starting to see some fear creep back in there. We haven't had a big altcoin season type drop, altcoin drop like this in quite a bit of time. I think you saw a lot of people that had really loaded up over the past few weeks. I'm not even talking about from here. I'm talking about just from here or here. a lot of those people ended up selling off their positions, or at least cutting back down, since we started to see some substantial weakness from Bitcoin. And we haven't really seen that substantial weakness in a while, as we're starting to see some of those moving averages start to turn over. Like I just showed you guys over here, oscillators showing those oversold conditions, or just your simple MACDs, especially on the daily chart, starting to show some of those crossovers here, which typically, they don't necessarily symbol the top of a market, but they do start to show you that, hey, momentum is shifting, and that momentum shifting makes it much harder to want to just hold, because if the momentum isn't clearly going up, why are you holding the position? It must be for some other type of reason. Maybe it's because you believe that no more rate hikes after the third, or maybe we don't have a rate hike on the third at all, and you want to see that general position. But over here, same thing, right? You started to see those crossovers here, some stuff happening in the marketplace. Eventually we have a drop, and you can see that divergence that happened here, right? Lower highs while we had higher lows, the divergence usually will win out, and that's what you saw, the momentum coming back down. This time though, we didn't have a divergence, right? We were having higher highs, everything looking good. All of a sudden now though, we do have that death cross occurring between the two different lines here, K and D line, or the signal line, whatever you want to call it. So you're seeing the MACD freak out a little bit more here. I guess here, before I start going over this stuff, maybe even the RSI. No, I can't just push enter. Oh, not the strategy, but there you go. Now this isn't geared. This is the default gear, so you can use it for anything, I guess. You already saw that crossover happen here a few days ago. So the crossover happened here, nothing happened there, right? So crossover happened right here, a small dip, nothing. But what you did see is a higher high, and then a subtle, I want to say this is a very subtle lower high, the most subtlest lower high you're going to see, for a very minor divergence that I think most people would probably overlook because it is so minor. I would overlook it, but you guys are seeing those crosses happen again and again. So just be forewarned, it isn't a good sign. We'll see how much pain is inflicted upon us over the next few days, but I'm hoping, this doesn't lead to us going all the way back down here somewhere like 23,000, something like that, nothing like that for now. Mostly just probably having a low of around 26,500 or so for now. I think that's what I said last week. I still kind of stand by that. It's just the support level from over here, right? Nothing else around this level for a while, maybe down here on 25,300. But again, before we do that, we have to really just find a way to break down below this support level. And I think eventually we'll break down below that, but I don't see it happening anytime soon unless, again, so there's some really bad news that comes out and punches us down and down and down, right? That's not where we're looking to see right there. Okay. Now, if you guys have any questions on coins, let me know. As far as everything else, market is still doing fine as far as the stock market. Altcoins got shit on today. Bitcoin, bad, but I would say, catastrophe bad. And news, minor news. I think Tesla's earnings are probably going to have an effect tomorrow. We'll see if the NASDAQ is going down tomorrow, if that really procrastinates this little bit of a bearish move we've been seeing for Bitcoin, okay? Alrighty. And hey, Danny, Ken, hope you guys doing okay. Miss K, hey, Alex, again, I haven't seen you for a second. I think TMM and Friday, the market going to drop because of Tesla, etc. Yeah, I think it's really going to happen on Friday. I'm going to give it one more day as far as the stock market. I always like to give it a little bit of a leeway day. But Friday comes along here, I am getting a little bit more worried now about the stock market turning over, because we've been giving it ample opportunity to try to have that breakout here. Remember, we've been talking about this for a while now. How many days has this been? Like, honestly, look at how many days this has been. We've been trying to break out for the last 12 days, almost 2 weeks now, and we have not been able to break out. Eventually, when you can't break out, you break down. And when you break down, it's, everybody likes to pile on and make as much money as they can. And I think pretty soon you're probably going to see some of the volatility indexes really start to spike here. I even think I got an alert on my phone today for somebody placing a large bet on the VIX. I think if we even go over here to Whale Trade very fast, or Livestream, excuse me, who does sponsor this channel. Let's see. Let's get out of NVIDIA. Probably let's go to Netflix puts. Holy blah, 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 blah. Why are so many Netflix? Somebody was loaned up on Netflix right before the close and a lot of stuff. Whoa, look at all these puts. Wow. Yeah. Somebody was definitely loading up on puts before the close. This is a lot, like $18 million of premium here. Now, this is at 375 strike price. I don't think Netflix is anywhere close to that. Well, actually, let me see what Netflix's price is here. 327. This is way in the money put, so you know it's not as much of a risk here. But if I go over here to the VIX, what do I have here as far as this reset? This is not going to show up here. There we go. Here's some VIX plays. Premium. There you go. You got some calls here. Now, all the VIX is volatility, right? Hopefully the volatility for them is usually down because it really spikes everything up. But it's just more volatility, right? But you see a lot of calls, which indicates a lot of volatility. This is a $16 million bet. This is, what is that, strike price of $26. Let's kind of click on it very fast. And let's go over to the chart. They bought it at $1.70. It's currently at $1.85. $16 million. That's already like hundreds of thousands of dollars of profit right there. So they're expecting this thing to really pop up here. And you're actually seeing a little bit of a divergence here between some of these levels here. Because you see the VIX chart down here? They bought the entry spot around 2137. People are starting to copy them and inflating the price. Remember, options markets have their own market. Some people want to buy them. More demand, the price goes up, even within the options market. So keep an eye out for the VIX, everybody. Somebody's anticipating a very volatile move coming. And again, $16 million is no joke. And what I want to stress to you guys very fast as I do this. Zoom in. Strike price is 26 bucks. We're currently at $16. $16 million bet out of the money is an extremely bullish bet. Now, I'm not entirely sure what's making them think that this is going to go sky high, but I do see that this expiration date is for 6/21. So we got 2 months left, but they're anticipating a very volatile move in the next 2 months. That scares me, frankly, right? That somebody is betting that much on a very big move happening in the market. Usually when the market's at highs, you don't expect you expect them to have really crazy moves going up. You usually expect them to have really crazy moves coming back down after getting rejected. So just keep your eye on that. That one really did spook me right there. I mean, like this, here's one, a couple more for July, but this is 3.7 million at $25 strike price, 3 million to $25 strike price. This one right here, $16.4 million long, out of the money, option call. I just cannot stress how bullish that is. I just can't stress how crazy of a gamble that is for somebody out there. And you can see for the sentiment out here, it's mostly bullish. The call flow is definitely outweighing the put flow. Everybody thinks we've hit some of those lows as far as the VIX is concerned. Let me just kind of show you guys this here. And you can kind of see it as far as the NASDAQ. We're getting close to breaking down below that 20-day moving average. But if I open up the VIX right here, nope, not the cryptocurrency. There we go. Right, currently around 16 bucks or so. Let's go to the weekly chart. When we find these little bit of lows, we do have these really big spikes out of nowhere, and they're just finding a low point and trying to target it. At the same time, you're seeing the majority of the markets. This is Bitcoin. This is S&P, NVIDIA, NASDAQ, excuse me, all hitting those levels of resistance and struggling, frankly, for 2 weeks. Bitcoin's been struggling, even though it's been making these small gains. It really has been struggling to get that 32,000 big pop-off moment that I think a lot of us wanted to see. And maybe that's because the NASDAQ's been struggling, the SPY's been struggling, right? Even the SPY, though, SPY's been grinding up slowly, but not having that big pop moment. So really, it's just the NASDAQ screwing all of us right now. But, you know, just keep your eyes open, everybody. As far as the stock market today, we're still seeing some really balanced stuff. Tesla was down a little bit today. Let's go over here to the 5-minute chart just so you guys can see it. After hours, came down quite a bit. Let me drop down the oscillator very fast. Coming down quite a bit here. NVIDIA still doing fine. I think NVIDIA is really being saved by this NVIDIA is really being saved by this AI kind of boom, and everybody needs these new graphic cards. You can see NVIDIA is like the only thing that really wants to break out right now, and that might break out back up to 288 or something, which could be legitimate play here. Microsoft consolidating again. They have their own AI stuff, but again, we're looking for a breakout that's just not happening, and we're about to break down below our 20-day moving average. Normally, when we break down below these 20-day moving averages, it's not terrible, but it's not good. We have a breakdown. It has to consolidate after that breakdown. Meta, still doing fine. Meta did break out here for a really weird one. Now it's having issues getting above the 223. So there's some happiness here. This one's not as bad as when it comes to the 20-day moving average. Keep that in mind here. It's just normally when we have those death crosses off that 200 that things get really tricky. But we're not going to have one of those death crosses for a while. Not until June, July, something like that. So I'm not worried too much there. Avgo bounced around a little bit, but again, I'm not going to go too deep into this type of stuff. But you can see we're still doing okay relative. There's some things like Netflix that are having issues. ConocoPhillips, that's oil. CVS coming back down after COVID stuff. CVX, Chevron. Not seeing anything too crazy here. Home Depot, right? Banking stuff. This is all banks. We don't have to worry about banks. Banks have been doing through their ringer so far, although the earnings have been, I would say, mixed, right? But again, just keep your eye out. Somebody's betting big that something bad's going to happen to the market, or there's going to be some volatility. Usually when you see big money betting on something like that, it happens. But we have, I think it was 62 days left. So let's give it some time here, everybody. Let's see. Hey, Alan, I'm happy to see you. How do I think the USA will sell its 50,000 Bitcoin? Will it do a structured sell-off or sell all at once to her Bitcoin? I don't think they're going to do sell it off all at once. I think they would probably do a structured sell-off or just sell it to a buyer outside the market if they could. Right now, as far as the government's concerned, guys, oh, why's my head? Can I lower this down anymore? No, I can't lower my desk anymore. Oh, I moved my seat down. This is going to bother me, so hold on a second here. Oh, now it's too low. Oh, that's fine. There you go. As far as Bitcoin and everything like this, I think what we saw with Gary Gensler was something that was good overall for us as a country, as Bitcoin lovers and stuff like that. We saw that I think a good amount of bipartisan cooperation was had by going after Gary Gensler. I will say that Republicans seem to be more anti-Gary Gensler. They got Republicans to be much more pro-cryptocurrency. And, you know, the fact that I think it was a Republican, don't hold me to it. There was a Republican out there who put down a bill to fire Gary Gensler. I think that's a very good thing. You guys have seen some of my shorts about what was going on at the hearing this week. I put some from this hearing and a couple of ones from an older hearing back in the day. We've really been seeing Gary Gensler, his feet being put to the fire. I hope he is let go because he really hasn't done the best of job. Just, you know, honestly, really hasn't done the best of job. We all saw that exchange. Well, let me just play the video for you guys. Let me turn up my my desktop audio here. Let's go to my channel. Let's go to here. Shorts. Which one is it? This one right here. Okay. It'll be kind of loud, but just listen. And you can have subtitles too.
Ask you a very simple question about the second largest digital asset. Do you think it serves the market for an object to...
My bad. This isn't it. It's part of it, but it's... Yeah, there we go. It's right there in front of my face. There you go.
Is Ether a commodity or a security?
And again, it depends on the facts and the law, and if there's a group of...
I'm asking about the facts and the law sitting in your seat and the judgment you are making.
And so, Mr. Chair, I think you would not want me to prejudge because I'm also...
But you have prejudged on this. You've taken 50 enforcement actions. We're finding out as we go, as you file suit, as people get Wells notices on what is a security in your view, in your agency's view. I'm asking you a very simple question about the second largest digital asset. What is your view?
And my view is if there's a group of individuals in the middle that the public is
All right, so let me just ask a second question then. Do you think it serves the market for an object to be viewed by the commodities regulator as a commodity and the securities regulator to be viewed as a security? Do you think that provides safety and soundness for the product? Do you think it provides consumer protection? Do you think it serves the value of innovation? I think no should be a very simple answer for you here.
I think
that uncertainty is bad, is it not?
And I think that Congress has said that there's one agency, the Securities and Exchange Commission, under this committee.
And you won't answer my question, and you're the head of that agency. So give me a break. Come on.
I'm answering it in the generic because you would not want me to speak about any one set of facts and circumstance.
Okay, so, but you've already spoken. Have you said anything about Bitcoin?
My predecessors and the agency itself has spoken to them.
Okay, but you're not willing to do the same about Ether. Okay, so let me just step back. There's a lack of clarity here in the marketplace. Can you at least agree to that?
I think that the clarity is there. The law is clear.
All right.
There's a group of individuals
let me be explicit about this. The market doesn't see it. Your regulatory actions and the CFTC's regulatory actions say that there's a great deal of uncertainty here. It is the intention of this committee to fix that uncertainty and actually provide a sound legal basis for this.
All right, so I'll accept that now. We go back over here to Bitcoin. But you guys have a clear understanding of how crazy this really is right now. Let me turn on my voice down just a little bit. There we go. He's finally being called out, but like he's acting like he's not doing anything wrong, which is mind-boggling. And if you guys remember, that guy who was there, his name is McHenry. I forget his first name, but he is a very powerful individual within the House Republican Conference. Remember when all this debate was going on, we talked about this earlier, how the Republicans were trying to get McCarthy elected into office or elected into the speakership. That guy was there all the time doing all the backroom deals. That's the guy that gets stuff done. So, just understand that when that guy doesn't like you, it's a very not a good sign. Now, I don't know if he's really going to be taken out or not. I hope he is, but I don't know if Democrats want him to stay there or not. I think if they feel like he's a political liability, they may be able to kick him out. But again, I don't know. There might be other games being played here that are way above my pay grade or just, my intelligence level when it comes to politics, right? However, I do like the fact that he's being held accountable, and it wasn't a bipartisan basis for the most part. Republicans are always more fiery when it comes to this type of stuff. I think you've even been seeing some bills out there, frankly, where state governments have been protecting the right of Bitcoin miners and crypto miners to continue to mine their cryptocurrencies in their states without any There you go. Sorry, guys. I lost my signal for just a second. I know it's been really windy and stormy out here in the Pacific Northwest, but I hate losing my signal, so I apologize for that. But yeah, what do you call it? Definitely, I think the majority of people out there want Gensler to be fired. He's just not doing a good job. Even if he was kind of anti-crypto, I think we could kind of stomach him to a certain degree, but he has no compass as far as, this is the rules of the game to play by. If people understand the rules, they can do their best to work in that system, that regulatory system. But if he's making up rules that are not consistent, and Bitcoin gets different rules than Ethereum, that gets different rules than Matic, that gets different rules than Dogecoin, that doesn't make much sense for the overall market. And that's going to hurt Bitcoin for a long time. That's going to hurt Ethereum for a long time until they get this sorted out. Bitcoin's price is going to fluctuate, luckily for us, because Bitcoin is not just in America. It's in Europe, it's in Africa, Russia even has cryptocurrency, right? China, not that much, but they dabble in it though. They want to control certain aspects of it. India has cryptocurrency. So you are seeing a lot of stuff happen that I would say is good, right? Good. But Gary Gensler really is just not a good faith actor in the regulation of cryptocurrencies. I think that's what it comes down to. He's not somebody you can take with good faith. He is deceptive, manipulative. I feel like he was shilling off Algorand, right? We've seen the videos of that now. Algorand, excuse me. And he was having those meetings, I believe, with who was it that he was accused of having meetings with? Sam Bankman-Fried on top of all that. So you are going to see the type of weird stuff going forward, okay? And hey, Tony, I'm doing very well. Thanks for asking, my man. Hey, and hey, GT, what do I think of Brad Sherman's deal with crypto? He seems to be really crooked. Brad Sherman. I don't know who Brad Sherman is. Oh, this guy. I haven't heard much about him as far as cryptocurrencies are concerned. His house page is very, very slow. This could be the fact that I'm also having a little bit of internet issues right now, even though I can stream in 4K. Biography. Okay, let me just go to. Okay, that's too much of a waiting time here. I can't wait that long for what he calls. Let's go to the house. There we go. Okay, so it's not me. It's the freaking website. This guy. Yeah. Some people don't like cryptocurrency. This guy's one. I forget where is he from. California, San Fernando Valley. I don't know. Could be because he's afraid of what happened with the banks and stuff like that. The other one that doesn't like crypto is the senator from Ohio. Not J.D. Vance, but Sherrod Brown. I was thinking this is the guy I was thinking you were talking about a few seconds ago. But yeah, because the Sherman and the Sherrod. Can I find his face? This guy. He wants cryptocurrency gone. He wants it banned. He wants a ban on cryptocurrency. It's never going to happen because the innovation is here to stay. People need to find ways to make money. Lots of innovation out there. So it's not going to be banned, but there are people out there who just frankly don't understand it. And therefore they try to demonize it. I mean, it's a story. It's the oldest time, right? At this point, I think they've heard a lot of stories about the scams and whatnot, that they just don't trust cryptocurrency, right? And if you guys remember what happened back in like 2016, 2017, there were tons and tons of cryptocurrency scams, Ponzi schemes, pyramid schemes, all types of stuff built around Bitcoin, built around cryptocurrency. You know, before there was all the hundreds and thousands of cryptocurrencies that we see today. And I just think they think that because of all that, there's not really much good that crypto can do. They like the technology behind cryptocurrency, so the blockchain, stuff like that, but they don't believe that people should be able to trade and buy currencies like that. Partly because I think they're thinking more of this as far as a state issue, not like the state like Washington State, California, not like that, but like the state, the institution of a government. They like to control the money coming in and out of a country. And when you're like, he gets donations from banks, so does the guy from California. Banks don't control the outflow and inflow of cryptocurrency, the currency, right? The money. If I want it, so I have a guy who I pay for my thumbnails every again. I have an editor who helps me out every now and again. Once he gets his computer fixed, I want to start paying him again. I pay that guy through Tether, okay? Through Tether. That way, I don't have to worry about all these different banking fees to send money over to him. What I can do is I just sent $30 over to him, and it cost me $1 fee through the Tron network. Easy as pie. I didn't have to worry about the bank. The bank didn't make any money off of me, and the bank hates that it didn't make any money off of me, right? That type of process is something that a lot of banks don't like. It's a lot of, and I wouldn't like it either if I was a bank. However, screw the banks. They make enough money already. I leave my money with them already. They should not get into my pockets as far as how I'm doing my, how I'm paying people, how I'm maneuvering my money around. But I like the fact that, when I go to Nicaragua, if I wanted to, instead of, like, if let's say I had a Nicaraguan bank or something like that, or if I go to El Salvador, Salvadorian bank, or Panama, Panamanian bank, whatever. instead of having to go through that bank to send my mom $100 or $1,000, so let's just say $5,000, something like that, okay? I don't have to go to my bank and pay some type of $200 processing fee to send my mom that much money. Instead, hey, I just say, hey, mom, you have a Coinbase account, right? Or, let me just send you over $5,000 of Tether and pay like a $5 fee on Coinbase. You know what I mean? It's just so much easier. And but the government doesn't necessarily control that. And that is not good for them from the government's perspective, right? The government needs to be able to track all this money, follow it, do all this stuff. But there's no way they're going to be able to do this. They can track it in hindsight, but in real time, unless they have some type of like automatic scanner set up, it's going to be very difficult for them. That's just the way it's going to be for the foreseeable future. And I think I'm fine with that. I'm really fine with that. They're not going to have enough funding or anything like that for a while, because they still don't have a really good understanding of what cryptocurrency is, how to track it properly. And the ones that do, they don't really want to work for the government, because it really defeats the whole purpose of decentralized, being decentralized. It just defeats the whole purpose there, right? Let's see. Something at the moment in Hong Kong, they're using the Tron 20 USD since the weekend. Wait, some ATMs in Hong Kong are using. Oh, that's pretty cool then. Like, what do you call? The Tron network is, I think, the cheapest one out there right now. I know the guy that designed it. There's a whole bunch of things about him, unflattery stuff, I guess. I haven't really looked into it as much, but as long as I've been trading crypto and I've had the opportunity to use Tron is faster than Ethereum, by far, faster than the Bitcoin, right? By far. And it just costs $1 to transfer, right? When I transfer using Ethereum, depending on the service I'm doing, it may take anywhere from $3 to like $8 to transfer using Ethereum. It's kind of annoying, to be frank. Now, am I going to really complain about it if that's my only option? No, it's not terrible at the end of the day. But if I see Tron over there for $1, I think most people want to go down that route, and they don't want to have to deal with the pesky fees. Like, I will usually join subscription services instead of paying fees for stuff. Like, I just joined back up with Twitter Blue since they finally managed to make their Twitter Blue account good. Last time when I paid for it, I don't think I was getting anything from it. I think everything was broken. But Instacart. Instead of paying the fees for the delivery every single time, I'll pay $10 for unlimited delivery fees, right? That means I'm saving money because I'm not paying those fees. When it comes to Coinbase, I pay for Coinbase One, so I don't have to pay the fees. I'd rather have a system like that set up instead of having to pay for Ethereum over and over and over again. But I don't think Ethereum can actually work like that. If there's a system that can do that for me, I would absolutely love it. But not even Coinbase does it perfectly. Remember, Coinbase, if you guys know, after you sell off your cryptocurrency and you put it back into cash form, it still will cost money to you if you want to do an instant deposit into your bank. And I'm all about instant deposits when it comes to apps, because at this point, I've seen so many apps crumble and fall. I don't want to leave my deposit in the hands of a bank that may take 3 to 7 business days. I don't want to take my chances. I'll pay the couple, $50, $40, whatever it is, to get my money. This is larger amounts of money, but I'll pay to get that money moved over. If you're not doing much money, it may only be like $4 or $5. Maybe it's only like $1 or something, right? But I like to have that instant cash effect where as soon as you push the button, like a minute later, you can see it on your bank statement saying, hey, the money is being processed, the money is being sent over, but you can spend it now if you wanted to. Right? And Dodge is pumping. Let's go over here. Oh, it is pumping up a little bit there. Now, it still isn't making up the ground. Let me just go over here. That we lost earlier today, but it is doing a good job of trying to come back up here. So let's go over here. 1 minute chart. Dogecoin rally. This is a pretty good Dogecoin rally at the moment here. This is a pretty good rally. Let's go there. Let's get rid of the shared brown stuff. Yeah, but we are seeing a pretty nice rally as far as Dogecoin is concerned. Oh, the also doesn't work on the Dogecoin 1 minute chart. There we go. But we might get another nice breakout here. So far, it's looking pretty good. Let's get rid of this one here, this trend line. There you go. That change of character that happened right here as well. I usually don't do change of characters in the 1 minute chart though, so there you go. Yeah, but it looks like Bitcoin may have another opportunity here. We'll see if it continues to break out. If it does, that'd be good news. Because everything else is kind of up a 0.5% right now. Again, what did we talk about today? Making that wick before ultimately falling back down. It looks like Bitcoin is trying to make that wick right now. We'll see if it manages to have another crazy whiplash though. If we do, that'd be pretty good. And right now we're just trying to break above what? 0.092-ish at this point, right? But we're seeing some pretty nice moves up there. Any of the real transport of the network is fast and cheap. I mean, it really is. And the fact that it's fast and cheap, that makes it really nice for a lot of people out there. If I had to, I would always stick with the Tron network. I've just never had a problem with it. Never. Now, I've never had a problem with Ethereum and other stuff like that, but Ethereum takes a while. Bitcoin takes a while. Tron, easy, fast, reliable, never had an issue with it. I would stick with it for a while. And MSK, Mike Tesla, everyone on the YouTube talking about it. Yeah, I mean, we talked about Tesla for like maybe a half a second, but I don't think it's like the biggest thing out there. Basically, Tesla is down about 3.5% because their margins are being squeezed because they keep lowering the prices of their assets. Their cars. To me, I do think Tesla is going to come down eventually very, very hard, and it's going to be a very, very brutal fall from grace. But again, after the recession is over, it'll go sky high again, and it'll reach all-time highs, right? Tesla is something that I like a lot. I think a lot of people out there like it. It's something that I would just dollar cost average as you look into your retirement and stuff like that. Nothing too complicated about it, but we looked at it a few minutes ago, and it's fine. But I would be concerned about how much longer you want to hold on to it if you're expecting something more throughout this bear market rally, which I'm going to call it. But it really just kind of a bull market rally here within a bear market. I don't know how you want to say it nowadays, but it definitely does have a lot of news. But right now, it's basically that they were in line with estimates. They beat revenue. They did everything right there. But their margins, so how much profit they're making per vehicle, that's going down. Hopefully with the Cybertruck coming out or the Tesla truck coming out later on this year, that'll boost up some revenues and stuff like that because it is a new fancy product. But, you know, they might start to not lose money, but they might start to fall back on orders or something like that. And they'll know. I think they're just kind of pricing in a recession just like everybody else. So as we kind of wait for Dogecoin to blow up here, Fed recession. Let's see. Politico. Here we go. So this was 8 days ago now, it looks like, but the Fed expects banking crisis to cause a recession this year, minutes show. This is from Fed Minutes meeting. Fallout, let me just go over here and read part of this. Fallout from the U.S. banking crisis is likely to tilt the economy into recession later this year, according to Federal Reserve documents released Wednesday. Minutes from the March meeting of the Federal Reserve Open Market Committee included a presentation from staff members on potential repercussions from the failure of Silicon Valley Bank and other tumult in the financial sector that began in early March. All right. And basically, what's causing all this now? We're seeing a little bit of a rejection now for Dogecoin. What's really been causing this is one of the ways that banks make money is they lend money out, right? But if they're having some financial issues, they're more likely to not loan out money, which means if you have a decent credit score, you might still have trouble actually getting a loan. Where in a really good bull market, even if you had just an okay credit score, you could still find a way to get a loan with a decent interest, right? But right now, we know which interest rate's high, the bank's kind of struggling. It's going to make it very difficult, even if you have good credit, to actually get a good loan, which is absolutely insane, right? Because you have good credit, you should be good for it. But the bank is afraid that if there's a recession, me as the person that may take out the loan, I may have an issue paying them back at one point. So they want to make sure they're not adding any unnecessary risk going into a recession. Fair enough, right? But it's not usually what you want to see from the banks. And the fact that I can't get a loan or that one guy can't get a loan, that means that whatever money I was going to go use and buy stuff with, whether it was construction supplies to refurbish your house, to get a contractor, that money doesn't go back into the economy. Because remember, whenever you guys pay for something, you're basically just paying for somebody else's salary, right? You go to Nordstrom's, like I bought this ring, right? This ring cost $500. Now, they probably got this ring from David Yurman for something like maybe $400 or something like that. So they probably made about 25% something margin on this, so 20% margins. They made $100 profit. A Macy's employee, I believe, only makes about $15 to $20 an hour, maybe. I don't know, but this one ring, in theory, paid for about 6 to 7 hours of somebody else's labor at a low labor rate, right? And so this ring right here, this one costs $300. So this one might only cover a few hours of somebody's work day. You get what I'm saying here? Maybe one person's pay for a day, $300, I think is what the average person makes. It's 15, and he would watch. What's 15 times? Hey Siri, what's 15 times 9? Oh, it's $135. Holy shit. $135. Holy shit. Okay, so yeah. So $135 is paid for like 2.5 days of somebody's work. That money has to be passed around, and a large portion of that comes through loans and credit cards and stuff like that. So, maybe over the past month, I spent, well, I shouldn't be showing off my cards here, but let's say I probably spent $300 on my debit card. It's this month so far. $100 on food, $100, like $99 on oil change the other day, and like $100 of Loki dog food and some toys for Loki and some powders and stuff. Okay, anyways, but on my credit card, that kind of goes through debt and stuff like that. Well, I paid for, I probably spent like $700 on the credit card so far in the first 2 months, and that was for internet bills, some studio equipment, a flight thing I have to do later on this year, flight fare, something for my mom, something for my sister, buying Chipotle. I bought Chipotle burritos the other day, probably guaca chips and stuff like that. 3 burritos and a bag of chips is like $50 at Chipotle these days. So that type of stuff, right? Gas, right? So I get my cash back. All of that gets passed around to other people. But if, let's say, I can't get access to a credit card and, I have the credit, well, all that potential growth that would be happening in the economy, it's just not happening right now because people can't really get good credit cards. They can't get everything they need. Like I get invited to get new credit cards all the time, but I think that's just because they think I'm going to use them a lot. I don't really use my credit cards as much as I think most people out there. But yeah, so that whole thing is being disrupted. That whole pattern is being disrupted, whatever you want to call it. And people are afraid that itself is going to cause a recession because people aren't going to be spending the money. And if people aren't spending the money, how are people making their income? That's how you get the layoffs and stuff, if that makes sense. Doge always pumping on 420. Well, it is 419, and we only have a few more hours left until it's 420 on the East Coast. That might see it be pumped up a little bit more as well. That'd be kind of interesting right there. Always do the inverse of the Feds. Excuse me. What do you call it? Huge GCO, guys. I would say this. Dogecoin is still going to be the opportunity that for you guys to dollar cost average, but just make sure it's, you guys aren't going 100% portfolio into it, but just dollar cost average into it. I'm still a believer that Elon Musk is going to do something great with it. That's where my faith in Dogecoin really comes into. And as far as always doing the inverse of the Feds, yeah, the Feds don't like cryptocurrency. They're not going to be able to stop it. And the fact that we have allies, as you might want to put it, in Congress that support cryptocurrency, I do think that cryptocurrency is only going to go up from here in the long term. Short term, we may have some quabbles and, some ups and downs and stuff like that. But in the long term, guys, we're going to make some money just by holding Dogecoin. At least I believe so. That's not that financial advice. I don't want the SEC to get mad at me now. But what do you call it? Bit by bit, I do want to see us making some good money here. Because, Which House members are pro crypto? Right, the blockchain caucus. The blockchain caucus. Dude, our congressional websites really suck today. So we got Congressman Tom Congressman David, I can't pronounce that, Congressman Soto, and Congressman Bill Foster. So you got a lot of congressmen and women in here, right? Ro Khanna is in here. They may not all love cryptocurrency, but they all, they all want to understand cryptocurrency, the blockchain, and how they can kind of help those communities thrive through positive regulation and kind of, not all just like let loose, but there's going to be regulation behind it. But these guys are looking to do it, I guess. And it's a caucus. It's not a committee as well. So it's a caucus. They try to come together. Media press releases. There you go. Oh, they haven't had a press release since 2020. Wow. I don't know how proactive these guys have really been, to be frank. Copyright. Let's go over here. About, yeah, they just, wow, there's not much. August 4th, 2020. Yeah, they might have forgotten this website exists. Crypto bulls return as Bitcoin touches $10,200. This is in 2020. Oh, geez. Yeah, okay. I need to find out more about these guys. Let's go over here. There you go. Okay. Coindesk. Top 10 Congress people working on crypto policy. I think this might be the best thing right here. So maybe this is it. So Tom Emmer, this is Republican from Minnesota, it looks like. Warren Davidson, Republican from Ohio. Soto, we just heard her from that blockchain caucus. He's a Democrat from Florida. Bitcoin Miami is there. He might like that. Gosar, Arizona. Mastro, Nevada. California. Sherman. Not all Congress people to watch are crypto advocates. Representative Brad Sherman sits on the same House Financial Services Committee as many of the other politicians on this list, but he distinguishes himself by his resolute opposition to cryptocurrency as a whole, making him a figure worth keeping an eye on, especially given his new position as chair of the subcommittee on investor protection. This must be an old article because Democrats don't control the House anymore. So this is from a while ago. This is from 2020. Geez, there's not many articles on it. I feel like after FTX, nobody wants to be like 100% pro crypto, right? See, anyway, Martin, happy to see you back, my man. Happy from the Netherlands. I heard you guys over the past few months have been going nuts over there with your farmers. I heard your farmers had a big upset in the politics over there. It sounds like it was a pretty fun thing to watch. What do you call? And hey, Mattis, happy to see you back. At the SEC. I mean, I think people really just don't like the SEC. It's not even the SEC. I don't even blame them. I just blame Gary Gensler for being unable to articulate a set of rules for all of these blockchain and crypto players to play by. If nobody knows the concrete rules of the game, how are they supposed to make really good decisions? And I think because of this, excuse me, I think this is where you guys are going to see when Coinbase gets their trial together. Coinbase is going after the SEC, SEC is going after Coinbase. As this trial goes to court, you're going to see the SEC really scramble to try to figure out what's going on, because Coinbase is going to say, we want to know the rules. Because if the SEC cannot articulate the rules, what's going on here? And so if the SEC is unable to do that, the judge will pretty much just side with Coinbase, and it won't even be that much of a contest. So I think right now the SEC is being forced to make rules in the background, but they can only make so many rules again, right? Because they don't actually have legislative power. That belongs to Congress. So, as Dogecoin comes back down here a little bit more, as everything's coming back down here a little bit more, what's the best way to do this? Let's see. So he was sworn into office in April 17th, 2021. So he's going to be in there until April 2026. He still has 3 more years in there, guys. That is a freaking long time. So, yeah, he was nominated by President Biden. This guy, I think it wasn't he a banker though? Let's see. Yeah. Gensler worked at Goldman Sachs, where he became a partner in the mergers and acquisition department, headed the firm's media group, led fixed income and currency trading in Asia, and was co-head of finance responsible for the firm's worldwide controls and treasury efforts. Okay? So those people that I told you guys a few minutes ago that hate the fact that I can send Bitcoin or I can send Ethereum anywhere across the world and skip all those fees to the banks and stuff like that, or I can make investments in other markets without basically using the banks, though that's his old colleagues before he went into public service. Right? So, and he went to the Wharton School. That's the ritzy school. I think Trump went there too. That's the really ritzy school for the prestigious people out there. So yeah, I don't really trust him all too much. You're seeing Bitcoin have a little bit of a double top here, top, neckline break. It might pop back up one more time before making a larger move down, but you're starting to see that rejection happening right now. After it closed above the 200 here too, which kind of sucks. Let's go over here to the hourly chart. Almost trying to have a double bottom here, but at least we have a small breakout here as far as Bitcoin's concerned. Oh, we didn't break out actually. No, we didn't. We have a smaller breakout there, but not the big breakout. Hopefully if we break out there, we may be able to get back up here towards 9.5, 10 cents. That would be kind of nice. Daily though, look at this. Dogecoin is still gliding on top of this 20-day moving average. As long as we're doing that, we're perfectly fine. Perfectly fine right there. Let me see right here. Okay, there we go. What's everything else looking like right now? Nothing too crazy. No. Only thing is BitTorrent seems to be moving up 10% or 8%. I wouldn't be hopping into this one. This one's been a weird ever since they did that weird little reversal split thing they did. I haven't been as optimistic about it since then. I think year to date it's still trash compared to everything else. Year to date it's only up 10%. You know, you got stuff like Render tokens up 372, Tron's up 20. You know, Dogecoin's up 23, Optimism's up 175. A lot more coins have been outperforming that one so far, except for Huobi token. I don't know whatever happened to this. I don't know if these guys are in America or not. Let's see. Oh, it must just be an app. But yeah, their token has not been doing good. Usually you can tell the health by the way their token is reacting. Or see Binance's token doing very well, BitGet's token doing well, KuCoin's token doing very well. Huobi token, this thing has just not been doing well. I go to year to date, it's been going down, right? I had its big pop, but this thing has just been steadily going down. So I'll figure out what's going on with this one, but I just haven't paid attention to it at all. There you go. Yeah, and again, you got Bitcoin doing a similar double top right now and coming back down, breaking some smaller lows, nothing too crazy, but that's what you're seeing right now after a little bit of a pop. There we go. All right. Let's see. Hey, Martian, the farmers one, dude, that's great. What do you call? I mean, I heard they were. So when I heard about Netherlands, again, I don't know much about the politics out there, or what they were trying to do. It seemed like for climate change, they were trying to target farmers because of climate change, which to me makes no sense because, like, leave farmers, like, they make your produce. Don't fuck with farmers. You know, everybody likes to make fun of them or what. I don't even know who even makes fun of farmers. But, don't fuck with them, mess with them, excuse me. And they did it anyway, and it seems like the farmers won, so that was a great thing right there. But my gosh, how stupid does the government have to be to go after farmers? It just doesn't make much sense. There we go. All right, but okay, but it looks like the stream has calmed down a little bit here as far as comments is concerned. I mean, everybody must be tired as I am. I'll see you guys later on tomorrow. Tomorrow I'm going to be doing 2 streams. I'll be doing one in the middle of the day, and then I'll be doing one more here at night. The one in the middle of the day is probably going to be something of an earlier time for most of you guys, so it'll be around like 10 o'clock in the morning tomorrow. Tomorrow tomorrow, guys, I have a haircut from like 1 to 3 or something like that. So it shouldn't be too much. 1 to 2 or something like that. So just be aware of that. But yeah, stay safe, everybody. Tomorrow, I'll try to encourage people to do more comments and such, but I'm going to stick to my rule. When comments die down, the stream is over. That way I can like make sure I'm not just talking to the wall or something like that, or the wind. I don't know how you want to say it, but I'll see you guys a little bit later. Loki says goodbye. Loki, come here. You guys can kind of see him. Yeah, there you go. All right. Well, Loki. Okay. His sharp claws. See you guys a little bit later. Thanks for watching, everybody.